Shalom, brothers and sisters, and welcome to another time with Time to Seek Truth. So the Father has really been speaking to me a lot about us being His set-apart people, His Amsugula. And one of the important things that we've got to remember is the heart of man. That's something that the Father really talks a lot about as well. And so if you would give me a few minutes of your time, let's quickly fall into it. So the heart of man is something that we see the Father speak a lot about. Right in Genesis, we already see how the Father has said that the heart of man is evil above all. And for us to really, we need to constantly do introspection and make sure that our heart is in alignment with Jehovah's word. If we have a look at, let me give you my slideshow, and then you can join me. So if you haven't already gone to have a look at the last two teachings about being Jehovah's Amsagula, his set-apart possession, his treasured possession, then please go back and have a look. This is just to give you a little bit of a highlight of what is important to the Father. Jeremiah 18 says, "Thus said Jehovah, see, I am forming," that is like a potter. So the potter squeezes and shapes and molds the clay. And that's what the Father is doing. He's forming evil and devising a plan against you. So what does he say? Return now everyone from his evil way, his course of life, and make your course of life and your deeds good. But what do people say? This isn't what they're verbally, literally saying. What they're saying is in their hearts is, there's no hope. For we walk according to our own plans, our own thoughts and devices, and we do each one the stubbornness, so their imaginations and their lust of their own evil heart, their inner man, their will, and their understanding. This is what people are doing. They don't want to hear what the Father has to say. They are stubborn. They are following their own imaginations and lusts. The lust of the world is so tempting and so time-consuming. And the Father is saying He's busy shaping things. We can see the world busy shaping into this evil guile that's happening. It's happening all around us. And the Father's putting these things, He's allowing these things to come into place. Why? Because we are so stiff-necked. Our hearts are evil. The Father wants us to draw back to Him. And this evil will only come on us. And we'll only go through it. We can see it through when the Israelites were in Egypt. Those who chose Jehovah as their Elohim, their God, were put into Goshen. They were protected in Goshen. So the Father doesn't want us to be punished. He doesn't want us to go through this evil. That's why He says, I'm planning this evil, but return now. Why are we so stiff-necked? Jeremiah 7 says, "But this world I do command them, saying, obey my voice, and I shall be your Elohim, and you be my people, and walk in that I have commanded, so that it be all the ways well with you." Not just a certain way, not just in your health or just in your family. Jehovah wants to bless us in all the ways. Go and look at Deuteronomy 28, and in what ways you will be blessed if you obey His voice. That is what a pure heart is. It's someone who obeys the Father. Stiff-neckedness is those who refuse to listen. We all have rebellious children, stiff-necked children. We were stiff-necked and rebellious as children. And what did our fathers do? They had to punish us, to teach us. Jeremiah 7:24 says, "But they did not obey or incline their ear, but walked in the counsels and in the stubbornness of their evil heart, and went backwards and not forwards." We will backslide if we continue in our stubbornness and doing our own evil way, our own course of life. Jeremiah 16:12, "And you have done more evil than your fathers." Who's that? Our forefathers. "For look, each one walks according to the stubbornness of his own evil heart, without listening to me. That is what an evil heart is, if we do not listen to the Father. Jeremiah 17:9, the heart is crooked above all and desperately sick. Who shall know it? Jeremiah 17:10, I, Jehovah, search the heart. I try the kidneys and give every man according to his ways, according to the fruits of his deed. Where do we see about this fruit? 1 Corinthians 13 talks about the fruit of the Spirit. We are going to be judged according to the way we walk, what fruits we have. If we are obedient to Jehovah, because he looks at our heart, the intent of our heart. So it doesn't help you go and feed the poor, go and clothe those who are getting cold, or go and do all these good deeds. But if the intent of your heart is evil, the Father knows that no matter is hidden from Jehovah. Jeremiah 23:17, they keep on saying to those who despise me, Jehovah has said, you shall have peace. And to all who walk according to the stubbornness of their own heart, they say, no evil comes upon you. This is what's happening in the churches. People are not correcting each other. People are not helping each other to walk in the ways of Jehovah. We see brothers who are filled with hatred, who are hurting other believers. We see fellow believers who are sleeping around, who are busy with worldly things and feeding their flesh, who are falling by the wayside. Their families are falling apart. And what are we doing? We are making as if there's nothing wrong. We are turning a blind eye. We are allowing them to continue in the stubbornness of their heart. And we're saying, no evil comes on you. We see this with the LGBTQ in congregations, how things are just being accepted. And we're saying, no evil will come on you. It's all about love. That's not love, people. Jeremiah 23:18 says, for who has stood in the counsel of Jehovah and has seen and heard his word? Who has listened to his word and obeyed it? This is what we are going to be judged on, brothers and sisters. It's not about telling everyone, don't worry, it's all okay. Jehovah's going to bless you with peace. It's okay, carry on with, just come as you are, stay as you are. No, if there is not change, then you have not accepted Jehovah as your God and King. Genesis 6:5, this is where we see what Jehovah says about man's heart. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of their heart was only evil continually. That is our natural man until we accept Jehovah, the King, and make him Lord of our lives and put him above everything else. Psalm 19:14, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Jehovah, my strength and my Redeemer. That is what our prayer is supposed to be. We cannot think that we are okay, we've done the little sinner's prayer, and now we're okay. There has to be change. Proverbs 16:5, everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to Jehovah. Hebrews 3:12, take heed, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief. So unbelief, to not have faith, is an evil heart. Hebrews 4:12, for the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the divide asunder of soul and spirit and of joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intent of the heart. You can put up all the front that you want, but the Father knows what's in your heart. You can smile and you can hug your brother or your sister, but the Father sees what's in your heart if that's sincere. So, brothers and sisters, an evil heart is something that the Father does not like. If we look at what the heart is, we've got the evil heart and we've got a kingdom heart, a kingdom-minded heart. one that is walking in the kingdom now. If you accept Yeshua as your Messiah, you accept the salvation that he has given you, then we are to walk in obedience to Jehovah, to enter into his kingdom. An evil heart is disobedient. His words and actions do not align. And many times, an evil heart has pride. It is pride that leads to disobedience. We've seen a heart of unbelief is evil. The words we speak shows what's in our heart. Do we speak evil, or do we speak or evil and cursing, or do we speak blessing and praise and uplifting words that edifies the body? What do we meditate on? What evil thoughts do we meditate on? We many times have evil thoughts that break ourselves down. We are the creation of Jehovah. How dare we break ourselves down? Yes, we are supposed to do introspection. We are of the flesh, so we do sin. But how many times do you meditate on words that are spoken to you when you were a child, saying, I'm stupid, look how ugly I am? Does the Father make anything ugly? No. If you believe in Jehovah, if you read his word, are you stupid? No. The Father looks at the intent of your actions. Are they evil or selfish or self-righteous? Sometimes people will do good deeds, but for their own selfish gain. They would be nice to people because they know they can gain something from those people. Or I see it a lot on YouTube, brothers and sisters in the faith who go and do good deeds, and then they constantly taking videos of it. And I don't ever see them praise Jehovah for blessing them to bless these people or giving the gospel. When we go and do good, we need to go and give those people a hope as well. It doesn't help you just feed them in the flesh. What did Yeshua do? He fed the people, but he fed them spiritually as well. We need to feed them in the flesh and in the spirit. And it doesn't help you just say, oh, brother, sister, I'll pray for you. I'll pray that the Father will give you a roof over your head, or I'll pray that the Father will give you food to eat. But then you don't do anything physically to help them. It has to be balanced, people. It has to be on both sides, flesh and spirit. An evil heart has hatred towards his neighbor, hatred to others. Sometimes it is easier to show love and kindness to strangers than it is to your neighbor, to your fellow brother and sister in the faith. Why? An evil heart is greedy and envious. An evil heart deceives. An evil heart is hardened and uncircumcised. An evil heart is fearful, because if you have fear, you don't have faith. And the Father wants you to have faith in him. The Father sees that as evil. So let's go and have a look. What's the positive? What's the kingdom heart? What is a heart that is pleasing to the Father? It is one who obeys him and walks according to his laws and statutes. It's a humble and contrite heart. A circumcised heart. We read about that in Deuteronomy 10:16. A heart of joyfulness and gladness towards Jehovah. What did Paul say? I praise the Father if I have a lot or if I have little. Is that something you're doing? Or you're constantly griping and moaning? We see how that displeased the Father when the Israelites were moaning in the desert after he had given them food and water and saved them. Don't be ungrateful. To be found faithful before the Father, make sure that you thank him, that you are joyful before him. Faith in Jehovah and faithfulness towards him, that is a kingdom heart. Bearing the fruit of the Spirit, Do we ever reach it 100%? No. I lack patience. But the Father teaches us that. We need to be humble enough to constantly learn. We need to be humble enough to hear a brother or sister give us correction. If you get upset when a brother or sister gives you correction, you got to be careful, because you could have a stubbornness in your heart. To love your neighbor and love others. Like I said, it's so easy to love others because you see them now and they never see the trueness of you. Loving your brother who has offended you, or loving a brother who doesn't do things the way you want them to do things, is sometimes a little bit harder. Loving a brother that has really hurt you, but come back in repentance and is trying to do things right, is sometimes a little bit harder. We put up our guard, we put up our protection mechanisms, and we're quick to get angry with them. A kingdom heart is strong in faith. They don't fall at the evil news that we're hearing. They don't lose hope. They don't lose hope and faith in the Father. The Father wants us to know that He will look after us. He will protect us. He is the Elohim that is our shield and our guard. The words we speak, like I said, is it uplifting, praising, and edifying of the body. Even the words that you speak to yourself. A kingdom heart meditates on the word of Yehovah and is kingdom-minded. In my last teaching that I gave about becoming a peculiar people to Yehovah, I spoke about that, on how we need to be careful. How are we seeing ourselves? Do we see ourselves as a flesh with a spirit? Or do we see ourselves as a spirit in the flesh? That change of mind will make a big difference, because then we're going to feed our spirit more than our flesh, because we know that this is only a temporary dwelling. A kingdom heart is wise and understanding. Where do we gain wisdom? From reading the word, from living Torah. How do you know how to love your brother or your sister? By reading Torah. It tells you how to treat your neighbor. It tells you what to do when there's an accident, or you've loaned something from a brother and it breaks, or you lose it. The word tells you how to handle that. The word tells you how to love the elderly. To just say love, the world's form of love and Yehovah's form of love is two different things. You've got to make sure that you gain wisdom and understanding by reading Yehovah's word. Proverbs has so much wisdom, so much more than these little fortune cookies that we read. People, it is time to draw into Yehovah. It is time to get to know the Father's heart, so that we are found acceptable before Him. We don't have a lot of time to play around anymore. You've got to clean your garments. You've got to clean your heart and put on righteousness. And this is how. Make sure that you don't have any pride in you, that your words and your actions are in alignment with that you claim to be believing. I hope that you join me with my next teaching, because I'm going to be delving deeper into what it means to become a peculiar people. By the way we run our household, the way we raise our children, that all sets us apart. We need to be a set apart people. And the Father does not sleep. He looks at everything. Thank you for giving me a little bit of your time. I pray that you would have such a blessed day, a wonderful preparation day as you prepare for Shabbat. Blessings, brothers and sisters. In the name of Yehovah.